There comes a moment in every person's journey when you look around and realize that not everybody who walks with you is meant to stay with you. Not everybody who claps for you is celebrating you. Not everybody who smiles at you is standing with you. Life will teach you, sometimes softly and sometimes painfully, that you truly have only three types of people in your life. And when you understand who they are, you stop wasting strength on the wrong ones and start protecting the anointing, the peace, and the purpose on your life. The first type are those who lift you. These are the people who don't just love you when you shine, they love you when you're shattered. They show up when you're empty. They speak life when you're drowning in doubt. And they pull you up when everything else is pulling you down. You don't have to pretend with them. You don't have to shrink yourself to make them comfortable. They see the treasure in you even when life has buried you under pressure. These people are rare, they are precious, and they are sent. They don't drain your spirit, they refill it. They don't compete with you, they cover you. They don't question your calling, they help you climb into it. If you have even one person who lifts you, honor them, protect them, appreciate them, because they are the ones who carry you from where you are to where you're destined to be. Then you have the second type, those who leave you. These are the people who walk out when the fire gets hot, when the road gets rough, when the applause stops, or when your purpose demands more strength than they are willing to give. They were good for a season, but they were never assigned to your destiny. Their exit was not betrayal, it was alignment. Their departure was not rejection, it was protection. Sometimes life has to subtract in order to multiply. Sometimes God will close a door you didn't want closed because He heard conversations you never heard and saw intentions you couldn't see. The ones who left you didn't break the story. They built the chapter. They didn't end your journey. They ended their part in it. Let them go with grace. Release them without bitterness, because what walked out wasn't meant to stay, and what is meant to stay will never walk out. And then there is the third type, those who limit you, the most dangerous group. These are the people who don't leave, but they don't lift either. They stay close enough to influence you, but far enough to avoid responsibility. They love you small, they love you silent, they love you safe. They don't push you, they don't celebrate you, and they don't grow with you. They keep you tied to who you used to be because they are intimidated by who you are becoming. They are comfortable with your weakness, but threatened by your strength. They want you predictable, not powerful, familiar, not free. These are the people who smile in your face, but shrink your vision. They don't stop your progress, but they slow it. They don't destroy your dream, but they discourage it. And the longer you entertain them, the longer you delay the place you're supposed to reach. So you must decide who lifts me, who left me, who limits me, because every destiny requires discernment, every calling requires clarity. You can't take everyone into your next season. You can't rise while carrying the weight of people who don't want to climb. You can't step into the fullness of who you are while surrounded by people committed to keeping you halfway alive, halfway confident, halfway growing. Life becomes lighter when you understand who is for you, who is against you, and who is blocking you without ever saying a word. Your peace becomes stronger when you stop trying to convince people who were never meant to understand you. Your purpose becomes clearer when you stop entertaining people who are only meant to be part of the lesson, not the legacy. There are moments in life when the weight you carry becomes too great for one pair of shoulders, and in those moments you begin to recognize the value of the people who lift you. Not the ones who cheer for you only when you're winning, not the ones who disappear when your strength fades, but the ones who can see your struggle even when you smile. These are the people who step in when life steps hard, who speak courage when your confidence collapses, who hold up your arms when your battles try to wear you down. They don't need applause, they don't need credit, they don't need a spotlight. They just need to see you whole. They show up with presence, with patience, with compassion. They show up with a word that stabilizes you when your world is shaking. They show up with the kind of loyalty you can't buy, borrow, or negotiate. They are rare because they are assigned, and the truth is, life becomes richer the moment you recognize who they are. These people lift you in ways that go beyond encouragement. They lift your spirit when doubt tries to suffocate your dreams. They lift your vision when circumstances blur your focus. They lift your hope when all you can see is the wreckage of disappointment. They don't just love the polished version of you. They love the version that's bruised, confused, and tired. They don't see your flaws as burdens. They see them as evidence that you're still fighting. They don't judge the cracks in your armor. They honor the courage it takes to keep moving anyway. They are the kind of people who remind you that you were built to rise, even when you feel like you're sinking. They push you forward when fear wants to pull you backward. They whisper strength into your weakness. They hold the ladder as you climb into places you once felt unworthy to enter. People who lift you don't compete with you. They celebrate you. They don't shrink when you succeed. They soar with you. They don't resent your growth. They water it. They don't get intimidated by your purpose. They help you carry it. They don't disappear when you evolve. They grow alongside you. There's no jealousy hidden beneath their congratulations, no secret agenda lying beneath their kindness. They want to see you become everything you were created to be, not because they gain from it, but because they care for you enough to want to see you win. And when you stumble, they don't broadcast your fall. They help you rise without ever mentioning that they caught you. They are protectors of your peace. They guard your name in rooms you've never entered. They defend your absence when others attempt to misunderstand you. They hold your secrets with integrity. They give without keeping score. They listen without judgment. They pray for you without being asked. They believe in you even when you struggle to believe in yourself. They become anchors when life becomes storms and bridges when life becomes broken places. When you feel empty, their presence fills you. When the future feels uncertain, their words steady you. When life dims your light, they remind you that your glow is still inside you, waiting to break through again. And the truth is, these people are not always loud. They are not always obvious. Sometimes they stand quietly in the background, supporting you in ways you don't even notice until you look back and realize they were holding you together. Sometimes they love you in a language that doesn't use words at all. Sometimes their strength shows up in simple acts, checking on you, praying for you, believing in you, or just sitting with you when life feels too heavy to talk about. Their presence becomes a shelter. Their loyalty becomes a lifeline. Their heart becomes a safe place in a world filled with noise and judgment. There comes a point in life when you realize that not everyone who starts with you is meant to finish with you. Some people walk beside you for a season, and when that season ends, they are pulled away by time, truth, or transformation. These are the people who leave you, sometimes quietly, sometimes suddenly, sometimes painfully, but always purposefully. And though their absence may feel like loss, it often becomes the doorway to a deeper understanding of who you are, where you're going, and who was never meant to travel that far with you. People who leave you teach you lessons that loyalty never could. They reveal what time has been trying to whisper and what your heart has been too loyal to admit. Their departure becomes a mirror, reflecting not what you lacked, but what you outgrew. There are people who walk out because they were never rooted. They were only resting. They were passengers, not partners. They were curious, not committed. They enjoyed the version of you that made them comfortable, But the moment you started evolving into someone stronger, wiser, and more focused, they felt threatened. Your growth exposed their stagnation. Your courage exposed their complacency. Your rising exposed the fact that they never intended to rise with you. And instead of addressing their own insecurities, they chose to distance themselves from your destiny. So they left, not because you failed, but because your future no longer fit their comfort zone. People who leave you often walk away at the exact moment you need them to stay, not because they are cruel, but because their chapter in your story has reached its conclusion. They were never sent for the whole journey. Some hearts are only assigned to a phase, not a lifetime. Their role was to get you from one level to another, to push you, to challenge you, to teach you, or to reveal who you could be without them. Their exit is not a sign of your worthlessness, but a sign of divine timing. When they walk away, something shifts, clarity rises, strength awakens, purpose sharpens. Their absence creates the space that their presence had been blocking. The truth is, you don't truly discover your identity until someone you depended on steps back. Their absence forces you to find the strength you never used, the voice you never raised, the courage you never activated. Their leaving exposes the parts of you that were leaning too heavily on what was temporary. It pulls you out of emotional dependency and pushes you into spiritual maturity. It breaks you free from holding on to people who were quietly holding you back. It clears the path so that those who are truly meant for you can walk in without competing for space. Sometimes people leave because they cannot handle the weight of who you are becoming. Your calling grows heavier, your purpose grows louder, your destiny grows brighter. And they realize they do not want to grow at the pace required to stay connected to you. Growth demands sacrifice, and sacrifice exposes those who are committed in word but not in heart. Instead of rising with you, they retreat. Instead of stretching with you, they shrink. Instead of celebrating your transformation, they resent it. And so they leave, believing they are abandoning you, not realizing they are liberating you. Their absence steals your breath for a moment, but it saves your destiny in the long run. You learn that you can stand without them, that you can rise without their validation, that you can succeed without their support. You learn that closure is not something they give, it is something you create. You learn that their leaving was not the end of your story, but the beginning of a chapter where you finally walk in your own strength, free from the weight of someone who was never meant to stay forever. There is a kind of person in your life more dangerous than the ones who hurt you or the ones who leave you. These are the people who limit you. They don't break you. They don't betray you. They don't walk away from you. Instead, they stay close enough to influence you, but far enough to avoid responsibility. They linger around your growth, not to support it, but to manage it. They are comfortable with your weakness, but uncomfortable with your strength. They tolerate you small, but fear you powerful. They know just enough about you to keep you from rising, but not enough courage within themselves to rise with you. And when you don't recognize their presence, you begin to shrink without realizing you are shrinking. You begin to doubt without recognizing where doubt came from, and you begin to dim your own light because the people around you can only function in your shadows. People who limit you are subtle. They rarely speak their intentions aloud. Instead, they sow seeds of hesitation in the soil of your confidence. They speak in tones that make you second guess decisions you were once sure about. They hesitate to support your ideas, not because they are flawed, but because your progress threatens the security of staying the same. They have mastered the art of silent discouragement. They smile when you talk, but their eyes don't agree. nod when you dream, but their energy withdraws. They sit beside you, but they never push you, and you begin to realize that their presence doesn't stabilize you, it stalls you. These people aren't always negative in obvious ways. Some of them care about you, but their capacity cannot match your calling. They want you reachable, predictable, and familiar. They fear that if you grow too much, they will lose access to you. So instead of cheering for your evolution, they anchor you to the version of yourself that makes them comfortable. They bring up your past when you discuss your future. They remind you of your failures when you talk about your vision. They compare you to others when you begin to see what sets you apart. They use memories like chains, holding you to the ground of who you were, because they cannot imagine you reaching the heights of who you are becoming. People who limit you can be close, a family, friends, co-workers, even long-term partners. Their influence feels familiar, which is why their limitations are harder to detect. You trust their voice, you value their opinion, you accept their reasoning, and slowly, without noticing, you begin to live beneath your potential. You don't dream as boldly, you don't speak as confidently, you don't step as fearlessly. You play it safe because they applaud you for being safe, not realizing safety is choking the very gifts that were meant to lift you into your destiny. The most dangerous thing about people who limit you is that they don't have to try hard to do it. Sometimes all they have to do is nothing. They don't encourage you, so you lose momentum. They don't challenge you, so you stop growing. They don't celebrate you, so you question your worth. Their lack of support becomes a quiet pressure that shapes your decisions, your pace, your confidence, and your direction. Their silence becomes a message. Their absence becomes an influence. Their hesitation becomes a boundary around your potential. You begin to break free only when you recognize that their limitations are not your limitations. Their fears are not your fears. Their insecurities are not your identity. The moment you stop adjusting your vision to fit their comfort, you begin to see how much of your purpose has been waiting for you to outgrow the environment that kept you small. The moment you stop explaining your calling to people who were never meant to understand it, you begin to rise without apology. And the moment you stop needing validation from those who benefit from your hesitation, you start stepping into the strength that was always yours. People who limit you lose their power the moment you realize that you were created to expand, stretch, rise, evolve, and break every boundary placed around you. When you understand that your future is bigger than their comfort zone, you begin to walk in a freedom they cannot hold back, a purpose they cannot control, and a destiny they cannot contain.